Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have another ranked game for you guys here today, and like I said with the one where I was fighting that captain, I have just been running into major after major after major, and today I'm fighting against the major Marsupial Tail on Mudfight. Now, I'm taking Eurocore, and this is a Eurocore deck that makes a couple of interesting choices, including the VBL Mistral instead of the Crotal, which is good for recon, bad for range, and that does come to bite me right in the keister here early on, as there's an Akula and a Ka-52 from Marsupial Tail. This tells me right away USSR, or General Red 4 I suppose, but probably USSR. Not even sure, well yeah, it is a prototype, so yep, USSR National. And my Tiger gets scared and runs away, so I want no part of that. But the issue is, my Mistral here doesn't have the range to take out the Akula on its own. If this was a Crotal, that's a dead Akula. No two ways about it. As it is, he actually takes down my Mistral. I'm blinded there. Now, I have only one piece of recon on this side, the AMX-10RC, and I have no way of really taking out that Akula without sending in the Tiger, which is what we're gonna do, because I can't let this Akula just bully my entire opener. As it is, I've already lost a VAB, I've already lost Legion 90, I've already lost my Commando's Para, so much taken out by this Akula all at once. It has to die, even just as revenge. And we do take him down with the Tiger, but we take a little bit of fire in return. And keep in mind, the Ka-52 has Igla 5s. That's scary in its own right, and I should have just kept diving him, hoping to get a lucky stinger shot. Instead, I lose my Tiger as well. So, yeah, very rough opening. By the way, most people will consider this too much over on that side as well, the AMX 1390 and the VBL Mistral. And then I got a little bit grumpy about this and sent in a Peace Rhine stupidly. Now, when I say stupidly, there's a lot of points in helicopters. It was maybe not the worst idea to think that Marsupial didn't have super heavy anti-air on the ground as well. So I was hoping I could get a cheeky kill here, but we get intercepted. One shot, gets the crit on my plane, takes him down, and that's going to be a kill there for him, not for me. So that Ka-52 is still alive, will come back to bite me. At this point, I'm trying desperately to keep my Leclerc alive. I'm trying to take out the MIA MTV. I've lost the town there that I meant to take with fast motorized infantry to his Saperi just because my wheels couldn't get there in time before his BTRTs, having to deal with that Akula. Just, oh, such a crushing way to begin the game. This is another one where I was sitting there going, you know what? Maybe I just surrender here, because this is rough. This is the definition of rough. If you look up rough in the dictionary, you'll in fact find this recording. It's posted there now. Webster's official, and all of that. My Leclerc, by the way, getting more lucky than good, staying alive, and yeah, if I had lost that, that would have been GG right there. There's nothing I can do, unless I'm in it for the truly long grind. And I said as much to Marsupial. I was sitting there going, well, that opener was a thing that existed, I guess, kind of. Did it? Not entirely sure. But all is not yet lost. I'm prepping some reservists, I'm prepping some AMX 1390s. I'm going to try and take advantage of the fact that I don't think he has that many heavy tanks out on the board just yet, and we're going to head in with a bunch of numbers trying to retake this town between Delta Alpha. We're only going to try this once, too. If it fails, fine, that's your town. That's okay. But there was just Saperi there. Saperi are weak to 5-point boxes because they can't kill them necessarily, and I figured why not. Just worth a try. There were a lot of points there for Marsupial Tail, and there's a Conqueror's M over on this side as well. We've killed a couple of things in Foxtrot, and the Conqueror's M is relatively expensive, 25 points, plus, of course, the transport it came in, which was probably not that cheap. It's one of the things that USSR struggles with, is everything is either really cheap and really bad, or really good but really expensive, and BTRT is, of course, not the cheapest either. 50 points right there between those two vehicles, BTR 80A, 20 points right there, BRDM 3, which I believe is either 30 or 35 points, and yeah, you start counting pretty high. I really doubted he had something that could fight the Leclerc head-on. Now, my Leclerc probably hidden here inside the town, should have been smoking him off as well, but some of these town blocks do block line of sight, and I was pretty far back. So, hoping to heal him up. We should be getting a resupply truck there shortly, but I'm also just hoping to, as I usually do when I have a bad opener, just get more stuff on the ground, surprise my opponent if I can, with tenacity and hopefully a little pinch of creativity, which is not currently what's going on. This is the definition of not very creative. Oh, apologize there. Dropped my phone, of course, why not? And the MIA MTVs, these of course are basically Mi-17s for the Soviets, were really crushing as well. So I lost the Concours, I lost the, well not the Concours, I lost the Milan 2, I lost the TPZ Volksmilan, all of that stuff just gone. And I really wanted that tool alive. He didn't see the infantry, he saw the vehicle. I should have had them separated, but I didn't, and now I've paid the cost. So if you're me right now, you're sitting here looking at this, I guess same as the last one. Is this a win or is this a loss? Because Marsupial Tail, very good player here. He is a major. there's more of a difference between me and that captain. So, well, me and him than there was between me and that captain, but there's a K-52 moving over on the side, and this is where that Mistral, that odd buy, actually did serve a bit of a good purpose here. We have the first shot, miss, because of course. Second shot is a hit, K-52 trying to get out of the way, and I was sitting there going, no, 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 please hit him, please, 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 I need that kill. Right there, we get it. K-52 down, blinds my opponent a little bit, other than that BRDM-3, and is just expensive to boot. So we're starting to claw our way back just a little in terms of value. Now, this was another mistake. My smoke is in the wrong position, and my reservists are really slow. I shouldn't have dropped them off until just about now. Of course, the MX-13 VTTs with their 3 frontal armor can get a little bit closer than usual. That was actually an ATGM team that was hitting them there from close range. And I don't have any eyes. I don't have any recon with this. It's just blind. It's dying because it's blind, and that's not exactly great. Milan 2 does get the BRDM-3, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? I'm going to try and push into Foxtrot in the late game, because I was sensing a little bit of disorganization. Well, lack of organization on that side from Marsupial Tail, and I thought, okay, if I can take advantage of this, great. If I can't, fine. We'll at least give it a try, though. And he does cap Foxtrot. It's usually considered a pretty safe zone for red, and I was just about to cap Charlie with a Panther and some command infantry there. Of course, like I said, the Panther can be, well, like I said in the previous video, Panther can be a very powerful tool for a Eurocore deck in 1v1. BMPT versus AMX 1390s. It's actually kind of glad I had heat here, but it's 13 heat versus 15 frontal armor, so we can damage him, but only 1 point at a time. So that's 4 hits we've gotten already on this guy, 5 hits right there, and he is retreating. Works for me. We should nearly kill him. Yeah, wow. Not bad. But this has failed. I've lost my boxes, the 1390s just have to get out of there. If I can take a couple of shots at the BTRT, so much the better, but Gorno are through here. And this should have been kind of expected, because the MI8 MTV from earlier, Gorno 90 in that is not terribly uncommon of a pick. So, I saw these guys, I wasn't too surprised. I was actually kind of happy that they were there, instead of dealing with my Panzergren 90 and the Martyrs in the woods. Of course, my infantry would have won that in the woods, but far easier to shoot them in the open ground, because Gorno 90 do tend to be a bit more of a ambush unit than a straight up, knockdown, drag out, brawl sort of unit. So I was happy for that. Panther coming up here just to screen things out, make its presence known, say, hey, I have fire support too, I still have helicopters, I still have ways of dealing with your infantry, should you decide to keep pressing the advantage here, which he definitely did have, and definitely did try to exploit there with the Gorno 90. If they had gotten into this town, that would have been really rough. It's probably what he was headed for, but I did luckily have some recon tanks out in the open. Now, Rozovedka moving up, and this is a problem. If he can get into this section of woods and move forward, all the way to here, shall we say, that's going to be counter-spotting my stuff in this woods, I don't have a lot far forward. In fact, this is a little redundant. My Commando's Para should probably have been up here at this corner, or more than likely over here on the right, close to the town with their guns off. Just extending line of sight a little bit can really help you in the late game, particularly if things go poorly. But we see the Conqueror's M team. I'm looking to try and get the kill with the Panther, so we're going in for him. But Marsupial Tail sees that they're spotted and is moving them out of that line of woods, trying to keep them alive. I definitely don't want that team alive. But I probably should have wondered what that is moving over. Oh yeah, here it is. So this is the second moment where that Mistral on the left-hand side is just doing yeoman's work. Watch this. This is the ATGM plane, the MiG-27K, that Marsupial already had from earlier. Mistral, 1-2 punches him, down we go. And yeah, I lost a Milan 2 team to a gun run there, but that was definitely worthwhile for me. And now, even after that disastrous opener, I'm actually starting to think I might have a points advantage on the ground. It's quite possible, maybe not likely, but I'm certainly not going to get overwhelmed as much as I was at the beginning of the game. Now, rolling 3 is a bit of an awkward buy. I saw the 27K come after my Leclerc. I thought, okay, if I'm going to have any presence in Delta, I need to be guarding against that happening again for free. So we're bringing up rolling 3s, 2 of them to just guarantee that kill, or get as close to guarantee as I possibly can. But the zone of action is switching. I'm going over to Alpha, I'm going over to Foxtrot, I'm not pushing in Delta, and the rolling 3s aren't the longest range against planes ever. 3,500 meter range, you do have to get kind of close for that. So what are these protecting? That is a really big issue, because it's 130 points for the 2 of them. That 130 points could have been so useful other places right now. And this is just sitting here waiting for a plane that's already dead. We did also lose the mortar, and that should kind of send shivers down your guys. Well, no, never mind. He was attack moved in. Oh man. Shift Q is a problem. Okay, so we're going to speed up just a little. Overall look at the field. I'm definitely on the back foot in Alpha and Foxtrot and Delta, which are, the three zones that you really have to worry about here as the Blue Force side. You get a couple of shots in, and I was actually really grateful because Marsupial Tail pulls this guy back. If he'd gone forward with him, that BRDM-3 probably could have gotten both of these kills just because I have nothing left to shoot here. Mistral's NF1 can't handle that guy. OSA AKM does take out my Panther, but I have no guns on the ground, so I'm trying to move them along to over. Peace Ryan just circling, making himself known. I'm not sure if that's why he pulled the BRDM-3 back. With the OSA there, I would imagine he would want me to dive it. But, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. Booksmalon going over to Alpha, and this is a hard map for me. And we've had two back-to-back ranked games on maps that I don't enjoy. I love Punch Bowl. I love Nuclear Winter is Coming. I love all these different maps, and then my two least favorite for 1v1s are probably the 2v2 Highway to Seoul, which I don't really even know why it's included as a 1v1, as well as Mudfight. It's just, I always struggle to get this town, but it makes it a good thing to do. It makes it a good experience for me to try, because one day I have to figure it out. It's just a part of getting better at the game, and if you don't figure that out, then you're going to struggle, and I haven't figured it out, so I'm struggling right there. So, Flux Milan dropping off some CV infantry. I wanted to go around to the right, but that wasn't secured yet. We also do have reservists going up toward there. And seeing that BTR ADA, I'm just going to try and deny that. First shot is, of course, a miss, because it is always. Second shot lands in and doesn't quite get the kill. Wish I had the AMX-10 RC shooting in there, but this is where that heat does come in a little bit as a disadvantage. I thought the BTR-2s were dead. I was wrong. Yeah. Don't send your Panzergran 90 out in the woods like that. You'll have the same problem I did right here. But we're trying to retake in Foxtrot, and then if you remember, I said earlier, we're going to go Alpha Foxtrot here. We've sort of padded out Alpha enough. The Leclerc is going to be dissuading all those BTRTs, a lot of stuff in Alpha that isn't going to be brave enough to fight now without something to handle that Leclerc, and here it comes. Triple AMX-10 RC. Now these guys do not have a stabilizer, but they are 40 points, 3 frontal armor, 12 AP gun, and of course recon. It's not a huge punch, but if they can spot things that can't spot them, if they can get a couple of good kills, there you go. And the Peace Rhine, this is a T-80. The Peace Rhine's coming out to open their way, because that single T-80 would have shut down all three of these AMX-10s. So even if I'd lost the Peace Rhine there, which I get hit but don't, that would have been, to me, worth it if I can exploit into Foxtrot and make this really worthwhile. So his T-80's gone. He doesn't have any other armor in this zone that I'm aware of. We'll see if he does that I am not aware of, but now is the time to exploit. If I can get in, and I'm splitting these guys to send them different directions, if I can get in, make use of their guns, make use of their speed, then great, that's awesome. And we'll see how Marsupial responds right now with a helicopter, which is perfect. Mistral is back, resupplied at 6 Mistrals. They're relatively long range, relatively good accuracy, and that MI8 MTV may still well be carrying infantry. Of course, there are 1, 2 right here, so the first one goes down. Second one does get a stun, and the most unfortunate crit of all time is a weapons jam on the other AMX-10, but we get 1 hit and 2 hits right there. And here's where I make another mistake. This Mancot 1 should be moving up, should be resupplying my Mistral, should be fixing up this AMX-10 RC and the other one that's down to 2 strength that I just decided, you know what, we've got to go right now, we've got to use it anyway, we've got to do as much as we can to try and get into Foxtrot. And then what I usually like to do is do 2 things at once. So we're unloading the reservists here, we're just going to be pushing them forward, if for no other reason than to make my opponent see, hey, there's blue over here, there's blue over here. And even if this isn't a huge push, it might distract him, it might make him move forward. Killing the Conqueror's M team, by the way, very happy about that kill. I think he was out of ammunition from killing 5-point boxes on the reservist, which is something that's, I struggle to micro that as well, but you'll see people who do, and you think they're out of ATGMs, and they're not, and it's absolutely terrifying. So, oh man, could have gone a little better, and yeah, just reservists marching across the field, if only to make my opponent think, hey, what's going on? He did artillery this whole section of woods, by the way. Got kind of lucky he didn't hit my Führungsgruppe. Definitely possible. Most people will put them over to the left from what I've seen. It's just what I've seen, by the way, so don't take that as chapter and verse. But I put them over on the right, usually for that reason. So of course now if you watch this and you play against me and you artillery over on the right-hand side, well, I guess that's what I deserve for posting all of my games every single day. But MX-10 RC is getting through. I was hoping to find a command vehicle right through there. Instead, we find the OSA. That, of course, is the 65-point AKM. That's a very nice kill if we can get it. 1-2. There we go. 65 points gone right there. And the other 10 RC is just going to go right around. I thought maybe he might have capped back here. You usually see this section of woods, but I've seen that section of woods as well, particularly if Foxtrot is thought to be in danger, because it's just, you can put infantry on this side, it tends to work out decently okay. My Mistral, out of missiles. Moncot 1 still not moving over there, and the MiG-25 PD is just looking... This is really interesting. The second that PD flew over and evac, Marsupial sent me a message saying, haha, you're out of anti-air. And here comes the Mi-8 MTV and a bucket load of sadness. So, this is the main push, by the way. My reservists have died moving across here. I think some of that was to rocket pods, some of that was to infantry, but now we have Legion 90 and VABs, and this is going to be the main thrust, hopefully one that he'll ignore, having seen just reservists there earlier. By the way, BRDM-3 could have seen my AMX-10RC. I think we did fire a shot, but he doesn't quite see it, and the Mi-24 VP is too focused on clearing me out of this zone. Of course, a nice buy if your opponent doesn't have anti-air left, and my Mistral nearly taking... Oh, wow. Kind of impressed by that, between him and the reservists. Not bad. Yeah, stunned. If I'd had even a couple of missiles back here, this wouldn't have happened. But T-80's moving forward. We also have, so 1-2 of them right there. 2 RCs are not going to be able to do a lot with that. My gun is off. I was hoping for a side shot here. I was hoping just to stay alive, make sure that VP couldn't kill me until I could make it worthwhile. We'll see if that actually ends up being a good thing. But the other RC shooting in the BRDM-3, we get 1 shot, not able to get 2, and the T-80 does take out my other RC. So we had a good push, we cleared out a lot of stuff, and then I lost everything on that flank. So this really has to work out for me. The VDV-90 getting stunned by VABs, Commandos Para, and Legion 90 moving forward, more reservists moving forward. I don't care if these boxes take the shots from those Scredgets, and I don't care if the reservists take the shots from the Mi-8 MTV. That's fine. I have to keep the Legion 90 alive, I have to keep the Commandos Para alive, and ideally as many of the VABs as possible to use their autocannons later on. If you have more, they're stuck in the mud. Always stuck in the mud, of course. The ATGMs were brought up because the second you secure a zone, you should put ATGMs there usually, at least that's what I've been told, it's what I've been trying to do, and I'm looking for those T-80 kills if I can get them. There's one. Of course, 65 points apiece. The Peace Rhine trying to clear this out as well as maybe looking for the Mi-24 VP. 1 strength, and we do get the 1-2 punch there, able to take down that second tank. 130 points of kills. It's some decent revenge for having lost everything else, and if you'll note, this 10RC is not moving. We're waiting for everything to settle, we're waiting for attention to drift somewhere else, as Marsupial Tail does have to deal with my attack in here. T-72 OBR, this is another mistake. For me, just to clarify. My Leclerc, I should have known this town is controlled by Red 4, of course. If I'd moved him up to right here, we could have gotten a shot in on the T-72 OBR and supported this push. Instead, I got a little scared, and I didn't really move forward. And because of that, I didn't have anything that could really handle that armor. Of course, Legion 90, once they get stunned, aren't going to be able to handle BTRTs, and I think those are the ones with 13 frontal armor, as opposed to the BMPT's 15. We do get 1 kill, and here it is. I'm looking for that OBR. I go up the wrong way, and some of this is also because of the flames, I think. I'm not trying not to drive through them, but this is just the wrong angle for it, plus we shoot right here, and now my gun has to reload before I can shoot again, which potentially is a disadvantage against the OBR 1987, and the BMPT. So Legion 90 moving forward, VABs moving forward, 1-2 missiles away, 1 hit, down to 1 strength on the OBR, and out of nowhere, Peace Rhine coming to get the kill. I lose the Leclerc, but we've at least handled that heavy armor, at least most of it. BMPT also taken out by the Legion 90, and we are through, ladies and gentlemen, we are through this zone with VABs. So this is what I'm hoping for. It does sort of startle Marsupial a little bit. He's moving his command infantry or command vehicle somewhere else, which means my VABs are getting kind of close. Legion 90 still moving forward, and between the AMX-10RC looking for that OSA AKM, another 65-point kill here, if we can get it, and still having this tool around the backline, plus the Cassiope, the Tiger, all of these numbers I'm bringing into Foxtrot. I was feeling like, hey, you know, we might be back in it. Sure, he's ticking +1 for right now, but we're killing his Command Noah Haute Ligne, and if we can get that command infantry gone, well, then at least we're holding them to 0-0 as long as I hold Alpha. Now, Gornostroki 90 in the back again, this was kind of annoying. My Snebs are out in the Tiger, so I didn't have anything that I could kill him with right there, but this is why I cap usually on the left-hand side. It's not always here, sometimes it's up there, sometimes it's back here, sometimes it's over there. There are a couple predictable positions, and then a couple not so predictable positions, but we actually traded in, got his command infantry, well, command vehicle with the MX-10RC, lost the 10RC, but that decaps Foxtrot. It's also probably going to send the Red 4 player into a bit of a, oh shoot, is there more back there that I don't know about sort of spiral. So with that, we're ticking +1, and 30 points compared to 10, so technically speaking, we have the lead, even if it's just for right now. If I can secure in here, that's even better, but the Mi-24 VP is going to be enough to take down both those VABs, and I didn't really have anti-air tools here. Again, I have a Mistral and double Roland sitting right in the center doing nothing, all the actions on the sides, and the Roland is just a fancy paperweight at this point in time. So, VP is moving forward, and I was a little bit worried here, but Legion 90 can get a quick kill on these guys if they go too directly over. I just didn't want him to get seen and killed by the rocket pods and the main gun. Cassiope, by the way, looking for his Gorno, and this is the game where I really started to like Cassiopes. By the way, Legion 9 to get the stun, Peace Ryan gets the kill, and out we go. Hopefully, anyway. 25 PD is chasing, and this thing is brutal at anti-plane work, so of course we don't quite get out. 90-point helicopter, 100-point plane. We probably would have gotten the kill anyway, though, and that's what makes it a bit of a misplay there. I kind of wish I had that tool for later on, but Reservists getting killed, more T-80s, lots of T-80s all the time for Marsupial Tail, and I gotta say they were reasonably effective. Got kind of taken out from time to time, but as far as cheap tanks that sort of block the way for infantry go, it seemed like a good thing. Scrupa, by the way, down to 4, but Marsupial didn't see when these guys were spotted, so he was actually sending me more messages saying, hey, where the heck is your command infantry? I'm looking for it. He has flown directly over my entire back line here. Usually that is enough to get that sort of stuff spotted. And I've capped Foxtrot, because I'm a complete mad lad sometimes, and I wanted to make a statement. And, well, we're back to +1. 18 minutes left in the game, and 63 to 10. Whoever gets a +1 here is going to make it increasingly difficult for their opponent to recover, and that, of course, is the whole goal of Conquest Game after all. Cassiope, looking for that MI8 MTV, and actually for both of them, if I can get them, these guys, the NSVT primary gun, is not good enough to handle something like a Cassiopei's Gyat 30. Of course, a little bit of damage on there already, but I figured maybe strong enough. Countercap and Alpha, and my Legion 90 are going to try and handle that, while we're just building up more forces here. VBL Mistral, more AMX 10 RCs, AMX 13 90s. I need something heavier to deal with the T-80s, though. That is going to be a big problem. I was hoping my Milan team might be able to get it done. Probably should have moved the other one up forward, but we'll see how that goes from here on in. Now, Motostrelki MTLBVs, this seems like my same attempt over here with Reservists, but it is a little bit more expensive. So Motostrelki, of course, 10 points compared to the Reservist 5-point cost. I was just waiting for them to get into range. This is kind of goofy. Yeah, unit testing 101 right here. Motostrelki moved across to open ground into a Cassiopei's Gyat 30. Of course, it does use those rounds. He might have been trying to make me waste my ammunition, in which case, that will work. Using a lot of ammunition for not a lot of value. But the Kaminoa Otolinia are spotted, and that's the priority target. Down they go, we get the kill with that Cassiope. Yeah, as I said, losing out to the T-80 doesn't exactly feel great. This guy, 13 frontal armor, 8 heat on the AMX 1390s. Hey, I mean, at least we can deal damage when we hit, but unlike some of the previous games I've had with these guys where they get a couple hits in a row, maybe even get a kill, wasn't quite able to do that this time around, so I think it's just the panic on 1390. It's just tanking his accuracy. Get it? Yeah, tanking. I've used myself too much sometimes, but MI-24 VP buy, and there's been a lot of buys in the air, helicopters, planes, and all of that from Marsupial Tail. I think that's one of the reasons we were able to get some sort of board position in Alpha. It was just there wasn't all that much on the ground. I mean, sure, there was a reasonably heavy tank, there were some BTRTs, Sapri, and all that, but we had more units than he did on the ground, and those numbers certainly did help, even though I did lose the Leclerc for nothing. This was really annoying too. So Leopard 2A4, shooting in the Spetsnaz Gru. AMX 1390 is about to move to intercept here, moving out of the woods, trying to get the gun on the line, and I thought I got the kill. So, I didn't. 4 strength Spetsnaz Gru. And I'm bringing up MX 1390s. I'm trying to build out a little bit here into Delta as we do get the cap there again. And thinking that those guys are dead when they're not is a big problem because he has Spetsnaz Gru in this forest. If they had been farther down, there goes the 2A4. I'm reversing right now because I think those guys are dead. And I was trying to stay farther away from the town. So his Spetsnaz Gru are in this same block. I have nothing there other than the 2A4. And it's completely blind with the MX 1390 too far away to see infantry in that section, and I have no recon infantry here as well. So, yeah, not great. Definitely not great. And the VP is just circling around unmolested. So, a couple of different decisions could be made there. I needed a recon Mistral forward in Alpha a lot sooner. I think that would have gone a long way. And my Legion 90 and VABs have to deal with this now, which is going to be a little bit difficult, given that the 24 VP does have frontal and side armor. You have to kind of get around to the back armor on this guy to really get effective fire support. If he stays farther away, it's not going to happen because he's just going to rotate. Yep, that's frontal side armor, front and side armor right there. Would have been a dead helicopter. Instead, double dead VAB. Hoping to get the kill with the Legion 90 and moving over another Cassiope to handle this. And if the Cassiopes can handle it, it's definitely at cost. 40 points compared to the 90 on the VP, and at full strength compared to a VP at 2 strength, that should be alright. The Spetsnaz Gru get the revenge. 1 Martyr 2 gone, 30 points killed right there. And they're very quickly reloading. There it is, second shot. Second Martyr 2 dead. 60 points of value. off of a well-placed Spetsnaz Gru. Excellent play to Marsupial Tail there, just making sure that he still has some way back in on this side of the board. Panzergun, of course, do clear them out, but it definitely wasn't clean. It definitely wasn't what I wanted to have happen. He also cleared out the VP, and at this point, my Legion 90 are going up and around into Echo. As I was advised by some other players, again looking at this replay just for some feedback for my own one-to-one sort of skill and learning there. Should have split these, left one back here, put one around, just to try and kill any sort of command infantry, command vehicle that he sends back into that zone. Now, on this side, Motostrelki, dealing with reservists, they will win that fight unless I can get something around. My 1390 was more interested in this other AKM, or 65-point kill there if I can get it, and there's the shot. Swing and a miss. First shot's always a miss, boys. At least that's the way it seems, and the second shot does get it done. So, I think we've killed something like 3 or 4 of those. This also was a bit of a mistake. So Legion 90 compared to Sapri. Sapri in the woods will kill Legion 90 like you would not believe. We got a couple of nice shots off before they started getting their guns online with the mini-me, but it wasn't enough, and my mortars should have been firing in the whole time. I do have 2 mortars out here. They should both be going in after the Sapri. The other one was building a smoke wall on this side, just because I did expect him to have ATGMs there, and while I was moving up the Leopard 2A4, I didn't want to see a missile lazily make its way over here and take me out, which has definitely happened before. So, at this point, I'm looking to maybe get another cap, maybe decap Foxtrot again, if I can. It's going to be a little bit difficult to do that, but with only 4 minutes left in the game, something decisive does happen here. We'll just have to see what it is and whether or not it benefits me or my opponent. Alpha is gone, and that really hurt because I spent a significant amount of effort trying to cap this zone. We pushed him out completely, we got pushed out completely, we decapped it from him, he decapped it from us, and just to get pushed out finally by Sapri and an MI-24 VP was almost insult to injury sort of feeling. I really want to do that differently in a game going forward and just make sure I keep Alpha once I've expended all of that effort to take it, which I have no doubt is also how Marsupial felt when I pushed him out of it, when he had all that stuff up there in Alpha really far forward and just probably thought he was well secure in that zone, able to push me out of it anytime he darn well pleased. Sometimes the game defies your expectations. Now, this is something else that I think just defied expectations. BRDM3, another T80. I don't think he knows I have a 2A4 this far forward, so the Milan 2 using his last ATGM, swing and a miss there, could have been a lot better, but the 2A4 can handle everything in this column. Kinda wish I hadn't used my first shot in the VDV, but it's actually far enough away that he doesn't know what I have, especially when that BRDM3 goes down and he no longer has vision. This is just a blank tank. He might have thought that it was another AMX 1390 that he could handle, until this first shot comes in and 4 damage on the T80. When the T80 can't even pen my armor at this range, I'd say. 16 AP, 19 frontal armor. Yeah, no, that's not going to be a successful tank fight at all. So he does withdraw. Nice control there from Marsupial Tail. And, oh man, just these Sapri are such a problem. They actually killed a Vab. I didn't know they could kill Vabs. I thought the Vab's 1 armor meant that those Sapri would just get stunned, trying to deal damage to them, and the Vabs would get the win. But, yeah, no, they made it through. Certainly a little surprising. Command tank, by the way, headed up toward Delta. I figured we'll get +1 tick again. Almost don't need it, but still do for about the next couple of minutes. If I don't get, well, if Marsupial gets a +1, which he could right now if he capped Alpha, then this still is a loss. And if I countercap Delta, I can prevent that from happening. So that's the whole intention. Make sure that I don't lose this in the last couple of minutes after a long, scrappy fight against a really good opponent. I'm actually not sure what this was. It's not an OSA, it's a gun. Well, either way, it's killing my Cassiope, which is never a good feeling. The MX-10 RCs are back here, and I'd seen this BRDM3 go in earlier. I figured we could get the kill there, I was right. And then we're just going to move over, make sure we have vision on, and send a relatively unsupported Leopard 2A4. I'm out of smoke range, and this startled the hell out of me. So it turns out it wasn't enough armor piercing to really take that down, it's just Razvedka. But if that was anything else, if that was Spetsnaz Gru, would have been a dead 2A4. So I got lucky there rather than good once again. And man, I know my casts are a little bit different for team games than they are for 1v1s. I love team games in Wargame Red Dragon. They're just my bread and butter. They're so much fun. Even when you lose, it's just so much fun. Just the sheer amount of units, the sheer chaos going on, the sheer, well, destruction, I suppose, in the Conquest game. But even the number of good plays and good teamwork, what it forces you to have to do to communicate with your team, to make sure you're both on the same page, doing good plays and grinding out the entire game. And MX-10RC, one of them does survive. We're going around. I'm hoping he put his command vehicle in the same spot, so we're doing the same thing here. as we did previously, 2A4, getting the kill, and that's another T80. Here's the BRDM 2K, and yet again we trade. That shot coming in just as my own 10RC did die. With that, we make up for the fact that he's capped alpha, so he actually didn't even get any points. There's darn near simultaneous. And with clearing out that T80, this is going to be really hard now to get back into. We have a Mistral. It needs to be resupplied once more, so I haven't quite learned my whole lesson. But we are way farther up on points than we were at the time where we did this at first, so it's going to be harder for him to answer with things like helicopters, with things like planes, just because we have more on the board now than he does, and with that, I'm losing, pushing my Legion 94, looking for those VDV-90, got a counter cap in Delta with Leopard 2, which he did see it, he didn't know what it was, so yeah, this is a bad decision. I should have smoked him off. I should have probably gone over here as well. I was hoping he'd think I was over there because I've smoked over here, but it doesn't really turn out to be all that relevant with only a couple more seconds left in the game, and the reason we get the GG is this PH2 Tiger right here. Not even the Legion 90 in the base, they don't actually get a kill or anything. It's just Tiger goes forward, and he has anti-air back here, but the Tiger can spot for himself, and I don't think Marsupial had a lot of recon in this section. There's the OSA AKM. Here comes the shot, Hot 2 missile going in, just in time, gets the kill, and that's going to be GG from Marsupial. So 3,110 points in kills, 2,435 points in losses. Very tight game there. Very, very tight game there. And well played to my opponent, Marsupial Tail. Hoping to see you around in other ranked games as well. And the highlights have to be the Tiger getting the Akula in the early game, along with BTR-70 and Conquer's M. Yeah, it would have been nice not to lose it, but at least we took out the Akula. Technically speaking, paid for himself very well. 10RC, did awesome. Mistral, look at this Mistral, guys. KA52, MiG-27K, double MI8 MTV off a single Mistral. Yeah, I like this unit quite a bit. It hurts not having the Kurtal, that's for sure. But at least the VBL Mistral, I mean, has more ammunition, and it tends to hit decently often from my experience, so I quite like it. Peace Rhine did pretty well. We got the OBR at 1987, we got the MI-24 VP, we got the T-80. Pretty good. And the other 10RCs that traded into his command vehicles probably won the game there for me in that long grind of a match on Mudfight. So that's all we've got for you guys today. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.